episode 276 of Global from Asia podcast.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Thank you, everybody, for choosing to download and listen to this show. It will be going online on day one of Cross-Border Summit 2019, October 22nd, 2019. It'll be a very special day. Actually, six years Global from Asia was born in Bangkok and Dynamite Circle in October 22nd, 2013. This domain was registered and the podcast maybe wasn't recorded, but was planned to be a Hong Kong podcast. And Hong Kong is under a huge, monumental, lifetime amount of news right now. I think you can check that out for yourself. And the show has been through quite a bit. And I am really excited to announce that we have our fourth book, mine or ours, I call it ours, the Ecommerce Gladiator book. For those of you that listen to the show over the years, you may have heard some of our Para Living or Sisitano story, and we have made that a Kindle book. I wrote it over the years, and of course, you can listen to the podcast, but this is more like a story and learning all put together in one about 180 pages book. I'll be signing those for those that were able to make it to Cross-Border Summit this year. We'll also be launching it. If you're on our email list, you'll be getting a special email about that today. You can also check it out on our site or ecommercegladiator.com. But I'm really excited about today's episode, and I am on the move. I'm trying to get this one intro done while I'm in Bangkok at Dynamite Circle, and I'm heading back to the summit. But I was able to squeeze in an interview with one of our main investors of the first Ecommerce Gladiator series, or Para Living, or Sisitano, whatever you want to call it, Cadrian Chan. And we went through the whole process of the acquisition, and it was a little bit stressful the last month or two of that deal, and it's in the book too. Cadrian checked it out, and I thought it'd be fun to bring him on and kind of reflect on what we learned and what we could have done differently and different perspectives. And he was the big money guy. Put in $25,000, so it was really awesome, and is happy, and we're still friends after. So that's the best part, and I think we all took a lot from this business opportunity, and I really appreciate everything. So I'm really happy to have our book launch podcast, ecommercegladiator.com/book, or search on Amazon. We really appreciate your support. It's just a fun little book, a little bit of our story, and also learning tips for people. But without further ado, let us go with Cadrian. Are you looking to sell your Amazon business, or are you looking for an opportunity to invest in Amazon businesses? You maybe don't want to get your hands dirty, be a gladiator in the arena like Ecommerce Gladiator. So check out alpharockcapital.com. I am a shareholder. I sold my business to them, the Gladiator we're talking about today. And I joined as director of marketing or content, or the connector dude. If you'd like to have them take a look at your business, I, of course, could help you, or we have an amazing team of investor relations and others that would love to consider you trusting your money with us or your business with us. Check it out at alpharockcapital.com. They will also be sponsoring Cross-Border Summit and this show, really. I mean, they support me, they support everybody. So if you like this show, definitely consider thanking them at Alpha Rock Capital. Bye-bye. Thank you, Cadrian, for hopping on this special edition for the podcast. The book is finally live. It's been a couple months since acquisition and everything, and we've been talking. It was a pretty intense couple of weeks of that process. But yeah, I think, like you just said, we don't really have a script today. It's kind of like you had said you would you'd maybe just share we could just share what we learned and how the process went. So if you just want to start where you were.
Sure. I'll just freestyle because there's no script. But first of all, I want to give a big thanks to Mike for having me here, and also for doing the e-commerce project together. It was an an awesome, really great experience. Of course, I learned a lot about doing e-commerce business. This is my first e-commerce or FBA business, in fact, and also doing business in China in general. I actually had a chance I built a tech startup in Shenzhen before, but it's a totally different business. You deal with very different people. In the tech business, I mainly deal with the programmers, and we spoke the programming language. There wasn't a lot of cultural or language barrier. It was very different in e-commerce business, talking to the suppliers,
Yeah.
all the negotiations. It was very new for me because I was from engineering background. So, but most of all, I think this is very unique experience because our team is a fully remote company. So I learned a lot on how to being organized or working with people 24/7 all through the internet. We we had freelancers and VAs, and yeah, it requires a totally new set of skills. So it was sometimes it's overwhelming, to be honest. But we got through a lot of the obstacles, and I was very happy when we had our first product on Amazon selling, and yeah, I just think it was amazing.
Yeah, we went through quite a bit. It was 2 years, if you can believe it, since we started till the the acquisition. So it was
Right.
summer 2017. I remember the calls with the team at the beginning. Remember, I was traveling to a beach town. It was kind of had bad internet. I don't know. My wife had some beach house rental, and we were doing these calls with, yeah, like we had Jack in the U.S. and we had Roland in Europe and Mary, you, me on like Hong Kong, Shenzhen, or China, and it was uh, it was really crazy that we could actually put this company together
Right.
online, and
Yeah.
all these. There was so many people. I guess for me, I feel like that was one learning bit. I think we had too many people, which sounds weird because usually more people is good, right? Or I don't know. How do you think? Do you think it was? What do you think of the amount of people on the team?
I think it's okay. Sometimes in the meetings, it can be a bit overwhelming because more people means more opinions. uh,
Yeah.
so sometimes when it came to voting, I had to try to balance between some like over time. I think we treat each other really like friends, but when it comes to voting time, sometimes we might be in heated argument. I still remember.
Yeah, I can remember some
Yeah,
of that.
and it's crazy because at first I was still working in the bank, and then sometimes I had to actually hide in the corner for the calls, and for the call to become a heated argument is kind of embarrassing at that
Mm,
time.
mm, I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. If you remember, like the first couple of months.
I mean, I feel like there was like that often. I'm trying to remember. There was a lot of differences we would have. I remember there was choosing the product or the
The products, yeah.
category, then like decisions about suppliers. Well, yeah, that product category, the mocha pot, is still hard. I mean, we're still working with that factory after the acquisition, and it's just still a long lead time, and it's just so long to get it shipped out, and it's it's definitely challenging. But yeah, I I do feel like there was probably too many people at the early stages, and then I think I think Mayer said it to me. He says, I'm too democratic, or I'm too, I was always trying to get people to vote for everything. And he says, we didn't need to have everybody always vote on everything or that many things. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what caused some of the confusion was people were voting all the time when maybe we didn't need everybody to be involved in all of the decisions that had to be made.
Mm-hmm. I think about personnel, one thing, if we started over again, so we had 5 people, but we didn't have a single person based in Yiwu where our suppliers are based. So if we chose the electronics as one of the category, then it is better because we have people in Shenzhen. But we didn't know in advance that we're going to pick the supplier in Yiwu. So that was one problem for us as well.
True, but at the same time, I know when Mayor and I thought of this idea, we wanted to be fully remote. I mean, most Amazon sellers are not in China
Oh,
ever, or
true,
maybe they just
true.
come for the trade shows, or they just come out for, um, sometimes. But a lot of sellers never even go to the factories, so I don't know if that had to be a requirement for the business. Um, I'll be honest, I've said it in the book. I think we've talked about it. The hardest part was we didn't really have anybody really dedicating majority of their time on this because that was always I think one of the main issues. There was everybody part time or half time, but if dedicated would have probably helped quite a bit. Moving it forward faster,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that person wouldn't have had to have so many votes. I think maybe it was because of my leadership. People would wait until the weekly call, like the Sunday night call. Actually, we're talking about the time we're talking now is almost the same time as our weekly
Right.
calls we had. But I think what happened was people would just wait until the weekly call to report what they were doing and to ask questions of what they were, had to get input on. So I think maybe if there was less, how do I say, I think we're doing people were just waiting for calls to make decisions, and where maybe
Maybe you mean someone to take ownership of each, like the whole product, I guess.
yeah. Well, I think people were nervous, of course, investing money or making a decision about money, want everybody else to maybe be on the same page. Maybe it's something we should have been more clear about in the contracts or in our agreements that things could be made by one main person. But I think we're talking a little bit. Well, I think it's me being harder on. Yeah, like you said, we did pretty good. We built a team all around the world. We did source products. We did get sales. We did launch. We did do every part of the process, and we grew a brand. And I think we accomplished mostly what we did. So it was, yeah, it was definitely an exciting time. And I think also we probably would have needed to maybe raise more money to buy more stock. I think I had been talking to others on a team. At the end, to grow, we could have invested more product and then to grow more product line in that category, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think in the end, like you said, maybe sometimes each person looks at the other partner and because we're new. So for some decisions, maybe for example, if we want to put more capital, is like maybe I if X partner is going to put more capital, then maybe I'll follow. So because like at least for me, I'm a bit inexperienced in evaluating e-commerce projects. So sometimes I follow suit or after other partners' opinions. I think it's kind of related to we said earlier, there's no one to like with a lot of confidence or to take ownership of something.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think maybe we should have been more clear who could make the decision, and and that if it was okay, and then of course people are afraid to lose money, like it's a fear that everybody has. What if I picked a wrong product? I think that's why a lot of times people don't start selling on Amazon or start selling online, because they do got to make that initial investment and risk of capital for product, right? So we're at the point where we feel like we're in a good category, at least we're finding some traction and ranking, and so we could have added more products, added more to the business. So that is one way. I think a lot of times people do sell their company when they get to the point where they got to either invest more money, either borrow or take their funds or get other investors. And of course, I could have gone to the Global from Asia email list. We had done that a couple of times to get partners and other people to join, like Phil and Mark and others. I could have done that again, but I just, I think we had discussed that as well. But, of course, I think there's any decision sellers need to make. At what point do they want to deploy more capital, invest more, double down, or, find other alternatives?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So basically, we had done it a couple of years, and there was some turnover in management. A lot of people came and go. I mean, I was always nervous. People like you would get nervous. Like Jack had stepped down after only just a few months. It was kind of scary. Like he had his reasons. He might,
Right.
but that was pretty quick into it. And we got Phil in, and then we did squeeze Lorenzo. Is always tough because he had always wanted to get involved since the application process, which I put in the book, and he's that was always what I think. Me, I'm a blogger, I'm a podcaster. I like to bring people together, and he was really engaged with the content and really wanted to help, and had a lot of work he had already started to do for the business of Amazon selling. So that was. I did feel like I kind of squeezed him in, and we were trying to make it work. And then there was another person, and there's people leaving, and there's people coming. But actually, a lot of the Chinese sellers that I talked to said too many people is not good, and just need to take action. I think Chinese sellers do that. They don't hesitate too much. They look at data. They make a decision, they invest money into product, they sell, they look at the data. It's not very emotional, it's not very drawn out. I don't know if you feel that, have insights or thinking about that.
I think Chinese sellers, firstly, they're really good at numbers, and a lot of them are quite analytical. And as you said, they're not afraid to gamble. So that's also related to what we talked about earlier. Sometimes we're not sure about something, and we probably spend too much time discussing before making a quick vote.
Exactly.
Because this is related to the remote company as well. Because probably there are too many people, but I think the main reason is sometimes hard to gather all 5 people online. Of course, we had a set date and time for the meetings, but sometimes there are connection problems. I remember we tried using WeChat in the beginning.
Yeah.
For some reason, the connection wasn't stable, and it's creating a lot of annoyance because like if one guy dropped out, then of course he thinks he got missed out, right? And then we have to like reiterate our thoughts again, and then like keep on this loop before we do the voting. So
yeah,
sometimes it is annoying.
Yeah.
But I think it's not the fault of anyone or the team structure. It's just like sometimes technology is not stable as expected.
Well, yeah, I mean, going back to Chinese sellers, we had some Chinese active sellers that wanted to be part of this program when I first launched it and people were applying. but they didn't like the idea of doing it online. They actually wanted us to work in their offices in Shenzhen, like almost give us a separate office space and say if you had joined and others had joined, they said, oh, you can move in. You guys can all just work here. That's what they were trying to. And they said they know how to do Amazon already. They just wanted us to help with the creative part and the marketing part and the English, of course, and the influencers and overseas. That's what they were trying to get us to do. And, I said Mayor was, kind of guiding me in this process, like I say in the book, and I think and I just said, no, we want to do this kind of online. It's not like we didn't want to have Chinese sellers, but we want to kind of have this at least international. We were thinking it'd be cool to have like a local Chinese people on the team, but, it didn't work because they just wanted everybody in the office. They said, they just feel like it wouldn't have worked if it wasn't that way.
But on the other hand, I think all of us wanted to have a new product line. Like, I mean, I'm saying this like we all want this project to be like a startup. I remember you talked about this. We all have the entrepreneurial spirit, so we want to make something new. So also this can be made into like a case study, so it can be replicable for other sellers out there for reference.
It's true.
So it's kind of different paths if you go into an existing business office and like do a regular 9 to 5 job,
Exactly. But it also goes back to the cultural differences, family, not family, sorry. I hear your kids. I know we got to cut this call short. I got my kid. I'm actually taking care of the kids myself. My wife is in Shenyang, so we're wrapping up anyway. But yeah, I agree. But that's just back to the differences. Always people talk about Chinese sellers. They don't want to work online. They want everybody to work in the office. They call it 9 to 5, but I mean they think they work harder than 9 to 5 too.
Right.
I think, but in the office. Honestly, I think that might have actually helped because there were times where it was hard for everybody to communicate clearly and things did go a little bit slower, like you said. But I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit hard on myself or us. I think like you said, I think we did pretty good. And of course, I try to keep it real as possible in the book about the ups and the downs. And like I called it the Gladiator from the beginning. It's true. I mean, I feel like Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers or people taking a risk, buying a product, taking inventory, shipping it to a warehouse like on the other side of the world, hoping that they sell it, hoping nobody shuts down their account, hoping their rank improves. That takes guts. That takes confidence and we did a great job. So thanks, Cadrian. I mean,
thanks a lot.
It's awesome, and I hope you enjoy the book. And I'm gonna have actually when this show goes online, I'll be at the Cross Border Summit. It'll be happening when the show is online, and we'll have print copies for people that are there, and I'll also get one for you, of course, man. And
thanks.
It was awesome, dude. So thanks.
Yeah.
So thanks for having
me.
Yeah, thanks for taking a risk and taking part of this crazy adventure. And we'll keep on talking about everything, man.
Right. Keep me posted. I'll see you again later.
Sure. I'm a content creator. These podcasts have been things I love to do, and everybody asks me to make content for them. If you're interested in getting content creation services, we have contentinvestments.com. It's a little bit of a site that supports this show. We have an amazing team putting this show and other things together. If you're interested in different packages and services, you can check it out. We have a great management team there, LJ, Mark, and others. www.contentinvestments.com. Thank you, Cadrian, for sharing. And, I was really nervous. I think this whole e-commerce gladiator series, it was a real business. It wasn't just a podcast content series, but it was really stressful for me, honestly. I was on there's my name on the line, I'm using my reputation here. I've been doing all these podcasts for all these years and trying to keep everybody happy. I love being the host, whether it's the Cross-Border Summit that's happening as the show is being published, or putting people together for an e-commerce gladiator series. I do believe we are going to do another e-commerce gladiator style series. And now I'm partner at Alpha Rock Capital, making content. We have the podcast also at Alpha Rock to check out. The whole team is here in Bangkok. We'll also be at the Cross-Border Summit. I'll probably bring Mark and them upstage while I give out these books to people. So thank you, everybody. It's just been an amazing journey. 2 years of doing that. And there's so many names. We dropped a lot of names in the book. I tried to put real names, real businesses we used to try to help out anybody that's supported with their services or their support. It's just so many people. That's what I think believe is bringing together a real community of people. So if you're able to download the book on Kindle, we'll probably figure out a way to let you download it off our website, ecommercegladiator.com/book. We're also working on some other content for that site, a little mini site for the book and the series. So thank you all for your listening. I wonder if you're listening this far along. Anyways, I'm going to go back to another conference, and I will be in a conference for like 2 weeks straight, making deals, making connections, getting more guests for this show. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.